And hello once more, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to another edition of the Druids Dozen. Yeah, my name's John. Some people call me the Rock Druid, and I'm a bit of a radio DJ. I got a couple of radio shows. There's the Sunday Rock Show on BCFM Radio, 93.2 FM, which is a Bristol-based station. It's broadcast worldwide on the Rock Radio Network, www.rock-radio.co.uk, and there's also the Astro Radio show, the Rock Druid, which goes out thrice weekly on astroradio.earth, the internet-based station. So yeah, this is basically me raiding my record collection, waving some albums in front of the camera, talking about them for a couple of minutes each, and just kind of sharing my love of music. So without further ado, shall we begin? And we shall start with this one. Yeah, there's the front. This is Headless Cross by Black Sabbath. There's the front. There's the back. Pull this out. There's the lyrics, and more in the sleevage lyrics there. Yeah, one of the when did this one come out? 1988, 89 this came out, and it's one of the first Tony Martin album. Yeah, I think it's the first Tony Martin era album. Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, Black Sabbath. An album that's quite often overlooked, I think, which is a shame because it's a pretty damn good one. Like most Black Sabbath albums, the album cover is not all that impressive. It's weird. Band like Black Sabbath done some iconic records, but with one or two exceptions, most of their album covers have been pretty pants. But anyway, this is a particular typical pantsy Black Sabbath album cover. It's just a cross in a moonlit and then been broken at the back, Celtic cross type thing. But anyway, one of the Tony Martin era albums, and an album that kind of marks a return to kind of a direction for Black Sabbath. After Ronnie James Dio left in when was that, about 83, 82, after the Mob Rules album, Black Sabbath went into a period where they changed vocalists nearly every album, and everything was a little bit confused. You had the Born Again, the Ian Gillan fronted album, which was yeah. Then you had Glenn Hughes joining for 7 Stars, an album which shouldn't have been a Black Sabbath album, should have been an Obi solo album, but record company put their foot down. Then you had the Ray Gillan album, was it Eternal Idol? And also in those albums there was a bit of a kind of loss of musical direction as well. This album with Tony Martin marks a return to the traditional Black Sabbath. This is an album that's kind of riff heavy. It's kind of sort of doom metal in places. It's title cut, the Headless Cross, of course, being the probably the best known track off this. It's got the kind of black magic, devil worship, hammer horror, Dennis Wheatley type lyrics. It's got Tony Martin, who I think is a highly underrated vocalist, putting in a fine performance, and yeah, Cozy Powell on drums, and a Cozy Powell production, which, unlike an album I was talking about the other week, Michael Schenker live at Bada Hell, isn't a drum solo. So overall, it's a pretty good album. Yeah, and one that tends to get forgotten, like most of the Tony Martin era albums tend to get forgotten in the Black Sabbath canon. I really like this album. Hand on heart, I prefer the follow-up to this, Tear, probably, but this is still pretty damn good, and I would recommend to add to the collection of any Sab fan and any metalhead in the world. Yeah, Black Sabbath, the Headless Cross, 1988. 89, sorry. Yeah, 89. Yeah, good stuff. Okay, next up, we've got our first CD of the day. There's the front. This is Absurdum ad Nauseum by Cybernetic Witch Cult. There's the front. There is the back. There's the full gatefold. There's the disc. And yeah, Cybernetic Witch Cult are a band out of Cornwall, in the UK, right down in the far southwest. I talked about another one of their albums on an early edition of this this vlog, and I thought I'll drag out their other album for today. Yeah, they play kind of stoner psych metal. They're very heavy, they're very slow, but they're very kind of trippy and psychedelic with it. You know, like Black Sabbath colliding with Gong, maybe, as a general reference point. This is their second album, and this came out in, he says, trying to remember, 2019. So it's the latest one, 2 years ago. And like their other album I've got by them, it's pretty damn good. Cuts like Ivory Tower, The Myth of Sisyphus, and it's bracketed by an epic cut called Hypercomputer Part 1, Hypercomputer Part 2. Round the album out brilliantly. You got a guy called Alex Wild, guitarist and vocalist. Got a great voice, fantastic lead player as well. Rhythm section of Doug McKinnon and Lewis May. You know, tight as a I keep saying, as tight as the proverbial duck's backside, and just really good band. Seen these guys live a couple of times now. Live they have kind of all back projections and visual effects and that, absolutely storming. You know, and when you see them doing that in a small pub, it's a bit jaw-dropping, to be honest with you. Yeah, an amazing band. If you like it slow, you like it stony, but you like it very trippy as well, Cybernetic Witch Cult are a band that are a must know about. So yeah, Absurdum ad Nauseum from 2019, Cybernetic Witch Cult, absolutely storming. Go get. Okay, next up, have a bit of this. This is Blue Oyster Cult's Cultosaurs Erectus from 1980. There's the front. There is the back with loads of kind of little hidden in the credits and the artwork and that. Little kind of nods to previous Blue Oyster Cult albums and tracks, like, you know, where is it? Yeah, the Horn Swoop Bungo Pony, which is a reference to their cut, the red and the back, the red and the black from early 70s. But with this one as well, if I open this up and pull this out, you got some nice photos. You got a weird shoot photographs of these kids in dinosaur tracks there and there, and If I fold this out, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this in toto. Fantastic piece of artwork. It's a great big poster of yeah, the expanded version of the album cover. Huge thing. Right, now, so Blue Oyster, and there's no, unfortunately, that's it, there's no lyric sheet or anything in here. But there again, when you've got a massive poster and some pictures of strange kids sitting on dinosaur tracks, do you need a lyric sheet? Well, at the time when I first got this back in the early 80s, probably yes, but these days you can just look up the lyrics online. Now, one of Blue Oyster Cult's better albums. Okay, I'm hand on heart, I'm biased, and I love Blue Oyster Cult full stop, but this is one of the albums that I really do like. From the opening cut, Black Blade, which was one of a number of tracks Blue Oyster Cult did over the years, with lyrics and collaboration with British sci-fi writer Michael Moorcock, right through to the spine-tingling closer Unknown Tongues. Every track's a winner. Highlights include Deadline, which was a single off this album, which is a bit stylistically a bit like Don't Fear the Reaper Part 2. Got that same kind of vibe to Don't Fear the Reaper to it, which is yeah, which is rather cool. The Marshall Plan, which is one of those kind of rags to riches rock and roll tales about a kid that, you know, goes to see a band and with his girlfriend, and his girlfriend gets off with the lead singer. So he says, no, right, if musicians can get off with chicks, I'm gonna kind of form a band. So he gets a Marshall, so that gets the Marshall Plan, and a guitar, forms a band that want to play as much as he does. It's going to be loud, it's going to be heavy, this is going to be no disco music, as the lyrics go, and makes it huge. And then his girl kind of ex-girlfriend disappears with the lead singer of another band. But hey, that's the way it goes at a rock and roll show. Yeah, brilliant track, kind of tongue-in-cheek kind of stuff. Fallen Angel, Lips in the Hills. Everyone's a bit of an Oyster classic. Band are on fine form. This is the classic Oyster Cult lineup. Eric Bloom on vocals, keyboards, guitar, Albert Bouchard on drums, Joe Bouchard on bass, Alan Lanier on keyboards, and Donald Rosser on lead guitar and additional keyboards and that. Martin Birch production, you know, the Iron Maiden, Deep Purple producer. Guy that can sort of like, yeah, is a safe pair of hands in the production chair. And an album that's a bit of a winner. So, again, I keep saying this, bear in mind I am biased as a massive Blue Oyster Cult fan, but you know, please do, if you're into good music, explore Blue Oyster Cult's back catalogue, and this is a good one that should be explored by everybody. Yeah, Blue Oyster Cult, Cultosaurs Erectus, 1980. Next up, we'll have this one. Complete change of pace and subject. This is Humanure by Cattle Decapitation, 2009. There's the front. I'll drag it out so you can see it better in a minute. There's the back. Behind the disc, there's the disc. A better view of the front cover. Then this folds out. You have lyrics on that side. photography and album credits on that side. Now, in case you haven't heard, Decapitation are an American extreme metal grindcore or extreme grind metal band, however you want to pronounce it. But they're loud, they're nasty, they're heavy, they're extreme, they're offensive. I like to call these the thinking man's Cannibal Corpse. They're as heavy as Cannibal Corpse, they're in your face as Cannibal Corpse, but whereas Cannibal Corpse like to play around with horror tropes and kind of shock rock, these guys are shock, but these guys have a kind of purpose and a meaning to their shock rather than just pure horror movie entertainment. These guys, I think they're all at least vegetarian, if not full-blown vegan. They're very much ecological, they're very much leftist, they're very much kind of, you know, righteous anger type music. With lyrics that, you know, once you get past, you know, if you can understand what they're saying, and, you know, and I'll admit, hand on heart, that listening to grindcore and extreme metal lyrics is a bit of a black art, no pun intended. It's, you know, your ear has to adjust properly. It takes a while, but you know, I got something to say, and whether you agree with their message or not, you know, I mean, okay, I think I'm quite ecological, although I'm no vegetarian or vegan. I like my bacon too much, but overall, these guys are impressive. I've got a big soft spot for Decapitation. Tracks on this album include, sing some high points for you, Applied Human Defragmentation, Polyps, Lips and Assholes, Reduced to Paste, Bukkake Tsunami. Yeah, you know where these guys are coming from. This is the only album I've got by these on CD. I've got a few others as digital downloads only. This is the only one I've got on physical copy. So, you know, until I get some more physical copies, I can't wave any in front of you. But yeah, I just love this album. It's kind of one that I put on for stress relief when I'm really stressed, and yeah, and it's quite cathartic, really. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot. This is the one with Chumfield on it, which is again, an absolutely storming song. But anyway, if you've not heard Decapitation, I recommend you give them a go, especially if you are into bands like Cannibal Corpse and some of the other more extreme stuff, and or you just want to see how heavy can you get. Decapitation's a good sort of like getting up there to the very extreme kind of heaviness, and yeah, and I'll recommend it to anyone. So yeah, Decapitation, Humanure, 2009. It's heavy, it's extreme, it's offensive, it's pretty good. Brings us on to the next one, and a bit of a super group there. Where's the front? This is Statetrooper by Statetrooper, 1987. There's the front. There is the back. No inner sleeve, no dodgy coloured vinyl. And that's it, really. Now, Statetrooper, they were the band put together by Gary Barden, ex Michael Schenker Group vocalist, or I think he might be back with the Michael Schenker Group now. It's Gaz Barden, but anyway, during one of his times out with from Michael Schenker Group, Gary Barden put together Statetrooper. This is their first album with the original lineup. Later, one of the guitarists left and they replaced him with Brian Robson from Thin Lizzy, and that was when I saw him. Was it Brian Robson before this album? I didn't actually record with them. I can't remember. I know that, no, it must have been because Brian Robson was with them when I saw him back in about '85, and yeah, this is pretty good. It's metal. If you know, if you like your Scorpions, your Michael Schenker groups, maybe a bit of your heavy pettings, they do what it says on the tin. This album contains sort of like six tracks of kind of you know, standard studio recorded heavy metal. Doesn't say exactly where it was recorded, but and then there's a couple of live cuts, including a version of the Michael Schenker group track "Armed and Ready," which Gary Barden co-wrote. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's not earth-shattering. They weren't a band that was kind of you know. So I saw them a couple of times. So I saw them supporting Blue Oyster Cult. I saw them at the old Granary Club in Bristol, and they never struck me as a band that was going to set the rock and roll world on fire. But on the other hand, they were very good, very tight, very entertaining. Of the guys on this album, there's a guy called Jess Summer on guitar, who I've met a couple of times playing in various bands, and now plays with, I think it's the reformed Acid Rain, you know, the old UK thrash band. But overall, it's pretty good. Highlights to look out for. There's sort of Shapes of Things to Come, Set Fire to the Night, and the closing cut on side one, Vinci. Yeah, just kind of good stuff. And I apologise if you can hear a motorbike revving up outside. Yeah, Statetrooper, the Eponymous debut album, 1987. Bit of an obscure one. You might need to go and do some digging to find it, but yeah, if you like your more obscure kind of but quite competent metal from the 80s, UK bands, you can't. It's worth a look. Put it that way. Okay, next up. Well, that's something again relatively new. This is from 2017. This is Why Don't You Live in the Garden by the Easter Island Statues. There's the front. There is the back. Oh, hang on a second. Hang on a second. Pull the disc out. There's the disc. I have a sticker, and I have a flyer. There we go. Easter Island Statues, World's Best Dad, My Band Alien Stashed In, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, who are a great Bristol band that are now going to the name Adam and the Hellcats, at the downstairs at the Trap below the Crown in Bristol, December the 1st, 2017. A cracking night, from what I can remember of it, because I did get a bit drunk. But anyway, Easter Island Statues, they're a band out of Oxford, and they're one of those bands that's a little bit hard to categorise. Yeah, they're definitely kind of indie alt rock, but they're not. They're kind of punk, but they're not. They're kind of heavy, but they're not. They're kind of all those things, but none of them. You know what I mean? They're just an interesting kind, I'll say unique sound, because there's quite a few bands on the UK circuit at the moment with a kind of similar kind of vibe to them. But you know, but they're very good and very engaging. They do a great live show, and they're great in the studio. Anyway, this is their first kind of mini album. I've got an EP by these as well, and since this came out, I think there's a full-length album and another couple of singles have surfaced as well. But yeah, but like I said, band's out of Oxford, and they're just quite impressive. So it's a little 6-track EP. Opening cut Jousting Colours is a pretty damn fine track, as is the closer Static Street, and then the rest of them, Bow and Arrow, Little Bird, Ballerina, Holy Day, all pretty sweet little tunes. Not much else to say about them really, other than because I can't give you a kind of who's in the band because there's nothing on the sleeve, and yeah, but the band is still going. They released a single just before lockdown, and you know, I was looking on their website earlier, and there's still activity, and they're still hoping for shows once lockdown is over. So yeah, go check them out. Definitely a band on the up, definitely a band to watch. I'm not going to say they're going to be huge kind of indie rock superstars, but definitely a band that's got a lot going for them, and are well worth the time and effort of getting their records and seeing them live. Easter Island Statues, Why Don't You Live in the Garden, 2017. I was talking about the COVID thing. I had my jab on Friday. My arm's still a bit sore, but yeah, but no, very impressed with the NHS and the efficiency of how they got us in and out and jabbed and recovered and sent home. I was only in there about half hour. I've heard horror stories about people queuing for hours for it, but yeah, I think I was there half hour tops from entering the local doctor's surgery to leaving. So yeah, good stuff. Okay, moving straight on with Have This. One of the most interesting charity shop finds I've ever come across. Yeah, this is Sight of Evidence, a live album by a band called Lord Adder. There's the front. There is the back. There is the disc. Yeah, there's no booklet or so, it's just a folded card. And there's that, which is basically, it's the back cover with a few extra credits on it. Now, I picked this up. Our local Catholic church, St Patrick's, has a little charity shop attached. Went in there, going back a couple of years ago now, and they always have some interesting CDs in there. I don't know who's dumping CDs in St Patrick's on Gloucester, St Patrick's charity shop on Gloucester Road, but there's some interesting stuff. I was in there a couple of years back and found this. Just took one look at the cover and thought, yeah, local band, self-released album. You know, I've never heard of Lord Adder, but you know, Bristol's a big city. I'll do a bit of some digging. Took it home and did some digging and found out that yes, this is a fairly low-key self-released album by a local band. However, Lord Adder are from Valletta in Malta, and as far as I'm aware, have never played in Britain. Bit of local heroes on the Maltese rock scene, and yes, there does exist, but that's about it really. My missus was speculating that maybe someone picked it up over there on holiday. Malta, a lot of Brits go to Malta on holiday, brought it back with them. But however it got back to Britain, I'm glad it did, because it introduced me to a kind of interesting band. I'm not going to say this lot are earth-shattering. I'm not going to say this lot are unknown musical gods that deserve to be kind of, you know, multi-stadium selling out and megastars. But I am going to say that Lord Adder are a damn fine kind of, you know, mid-table rock band, the sort of stuff that you know, that kind of every city's got a couple of local gems, you know, that kind of, you know, plugging around on the local circuit for years, and you know, very entertaining. Maybe deserve to be bigger, but they were, but yeah, they don't care. They're doing their thing, and this is what this is. Interesting album. The fact that it's, you know, you get a lot of albums that are sort of studio, you know, 9-10 studio tracks with a couple of live tracks tagged on the end. This is the opposite way around. This is 8-track studio album with 3 studio songs tagged on the end, and overall it's very good. Kind of, it's got that kind of Coverdale era White Snake vibe to it, touch of Rainbow, kind of 80s Uriah Heep kind of vibe. Can't tell you who's there's no sort of like band member credits on here, so I can't tell you who plays what. Oh, can I? yeah, yeah, Mark Spiteri, the vocalist, pretty good voice. He's not you know, he's not earth-shattering, but he can hold a decent tune and hit a few good notes. The rest of the band are pretty damn good. Keyboard player, I'm quite impressed with as well. Yeah, highlights to look out for this way. The pass won't come our way. Caught in the act, and the closing cut of the live section of Lord Adder is pretty good. And Step Inside Me, one of the studio cuts, again very impressive. This came out originally released in 1999 over in Malta. I haven't got. This is going to be like hen's teeth to get a copy of yourself, should you want to. But yeah, I have seen bits and pieces by Lord Adder online. So maybe if you do a bit of online googling, etc., other search engines are available. You might be able to uncover some stuff for yourself. But one of those kind of albums that's kind of a little gem that's kind of people overlook, but I'm glad I managed to find a copy of, because I have not overlooked it no longer. Yeah, 1999's Site of Evidence Live, Lord Adder, all the way from Malta. Okay, next up, a bit more vinyl. Here we are, Deliverance by Tyga, Myra. Yeah, you got a bit of a scuffed cover. It was like that when I got it. As I keep saying on this this vlog, I don't collect for you know, keep it in mint condition. I collect it for the music, and so therefore I would overlook a slightly damaged cover if the record's okay. And on this one, the record is fine. Anyway, Tyga, Myra, Deliverance from 1987. There's the front. There is the back. Not much else on there. It's Ebony Records. And for once, Daryl Johnson didn't get his mitts on it. Daryl Johnson was the house producer at Ebony Records. The guy couldn't mix a birthday cake, let alone a rock album. I know, I've been with him. But this one was recorded in their Stuff Studios in Worcester, which is where the band are from, Worcester in the UK, sort of like West Midlands kind of area. And very typical of like New Wave of British heavy metal. Yeah, New Wave of British heavy metal was kind of petering out by about 85 into 86. The momentum had run out of the band, but you know, the bands didn't go away. And Tyga, Myra were a band that I can remember coming and playing in Bristol a couple of years before this album came out. So you know, they were part of it, although their one and only album didn't come out until 1986. You've got so there are typical four-piece, two guitarists, one of which sings, a drummer, and bass player. As you can see there, very much into the old kind of studded armbands image of the time. And yeah, again, it's one of those albums that's kind of, it's competent. It's not earth-shattering. The production is okay-ish, but again, not brilliant. But it does the job. And the thing is, with a lot of this kind of metal, there's a danger that you can overproduce and take the fire out of it. So this is not overly produced. It might be a bit underproduced, to be honest with you, but it's still kind of cracking. You got cuts like Lightning Never Strikes Twice is probably the highlights for me on this album. But Rodeo, Dead Zone, Future Vision, and a few others, all, it's fine, it's competent. The vocals are are kind of, you know, they're powerful without being unremarkable. The twin guitars working together nicely, a la a kind of low budget Judas Priest. Overall, making for quite an enjoyable release. Again, this one going to be quite rare and hard to get your hands on. A lot of the Ebony album record label stuff is these days. I've seen copies changing hands for about 25-30 quid online. Don't think it's worth that much, but unfortunately I don't think this has ever had a digital release, so not an official one. I've got a vinyl rip that a friend of mine sent me, but not had an official CD release. That's a point. Maybe someone should out there get their hands on the Ebony Records back catalogue and see about doing sort of CD and digital reissues, limited editions of the lot, because I'm sure there'll be a market for it. But anyway, maybe worth digging out if you like your kind of obscure British metal. If you don't fancy it, you haven't really missed much, but you know, but one for the collectors really, I think. So yeah, Deliverance by Tyga, Myra, 1986. Next up we'll have this. I think this is about 2017 as well. Come back in a minute. Oh yeah, I think this is... No, I think it might be 2015, I think, this one. But anyway, there's the disc. There's the front of the sleeve. There's the back of the sleeve. And in here, I have that. That's a fly, it must be 2015. Yeah, Save the Dinosaurs are down the bottom there. One of my happiest days of my life, it was the Fire and Forge Festival, Rock Diabetes, raising money for childhood diabetes research, and low on the bill, there's Alien stashed in. Headliners, Diamond Head. I've got to meet some of my heroes, nice guys. Also on the bill, oh, let's have a look, you got more. Synagogue, Fury, Jaguar, Enemo J. Oh no, more Paul Salem. Yeah. Overall, it was a pretty good, great little kind of charity festival. Really good day, and one of the bands that I saw live playing that day, and I picked up one of their CDs, was this. This is a 4-track EP by, say, Save the Dinosaurs, the Sink to the Bottom EP. A female-fronted hard rock band, shades of maybe Hailstorm about them. Band that are sadly no longer with us, this lot. They did another EP, which I've got over the back there somewhere. I had them in the studio a couple of times to interview, and but then on the radio, but then they kind of went their separate ways. So yeah, female-fronted hard rock, bit Hailstorm-esque, bit pop punk maybe, but just very, very enjoyable. A band that you had to put on a great live show. Up here, the 4-track, Sink to the Bottom's all right. We Stand Alone and Overbite are probably the two standout cuts for me, and then For the Last Time, which is a rather sweet closer. Yeah, not much else to say. I can't tell you the personnel or anything like that. All I can say is that if you do ever see a copy of this floating around or see any tracks given online, go give them a listen and commemorate a band that, you know, showed a lot of potential. And like a lot of local bands, sadly didn't live up to the potential, but you know, they did leave behind a couple of EPs that are worthy of note, including this one. Yeah, 2015, Save the Dinosaurs. with Sink to the Bottom. Okay, next up we'll have a bit of classic progressive rock. Here we go, Genesis, selling England by the pound, 1974. There's the front. There is the back. Lyric sheet. And that's it really. Well, in case you're interested. Korea pink. You know, I don't know the difference between Korea pink, Korea blue, Korea white or whatever, but I know that some collectors out there will go, oh, that's all Korea pink. I'm not saying it's particularly rare. This was a big, massive, I think it was #1 album, this one. Sold in large content, large numbers. Get back in the sleeve, you bastard. Yeah. Genesis, selling England by the pound, 1974. Containing the classic Genesis lineup of Peter Gabriel on vocals, Steve Hackett on guitar, Mike Rutherford on bass, Tony Banks keyboards, Phil Collins on drums, when Phil Collins was changed behind the drum kit and not ruining a great band by trying to sing, and writing crap songs for them. But anyway, yeah, I lost interest with Genesis when Phil Collins stepped onto the drum stool. Sorry, just the way it goes. Yes, can't stand Phil Collins as a vocalist and frontman. As a drummer, yeah, fair enough, but beyond that, not my bag. A pretty damn good Genesis album overall. Probably best known because this is the one with I Know What I Like in My Wardrobe, the one where he's talking about sitting on park benches and he's just a lawnmower. You can tell it by the way that he walks. Which I think was Genesis' first big hit in the UK. Despite the fact that they'd had quite a few successful albums before then, it wasn't until I Know What I Like they actually made a dent on the singles charts. Easily the highlight on this album is the Battle of Epping Forest, a 10.5-minute epic about London mobsters meeting in Epping Forest for a shootout, and with some bizarre cast of characters. Comes out like a lot of Genesis's epic cuts. Comes out like a mini kind of weird opera with various band members singing in various parts. Other ones like the Firth of Fifth, one of their kind of classic Gabriel era tracks. Cinema Show, Isle of Plenty, More Fool Me with a Phil Collins vocal. As I said, I'm not a Phil Collins fan, so I can overlook that one. But overall, Dancing in the Moonlit Night, just great album. It's progressive. It's unlike Genesis at this point, unlike some of their contemporaries. Yes, weren't kind of disappearing up their own backside with kind of inaccessible lyrics and kind of being complicated for the sake of being complicated musically. Genesis were laying out these almost like whimsical musical soundscapes. The lyrics are accessible, slightly strange but accessible. The music is complicated but accessible, and yeah, it makes for a very, very sweet listen. I've got to admit, I had a couple of mates of mine when I first started, when it came to prog rock, I first started getting into bands like Marillion in the early 80s, and then mates were going, oh, if you like Marillion, you'll love Genesis. Well, I still prefer Marillion to Genesis, I'll be honest with you, but, the Peter Gabriel period Genesis stuff, I've grown to really like. And, yeah, I hastily recommend this to anyone. This is rather sweet, Great production by John Burns, who was Genesis' house producer for many years. And yeah, just pretty good. Genesis, selling England by the pound, 1974. Recommended. Okay, next up, I've been shocking people with my pop punk collections, and I'm going to shock you again. Here we go. Catalyst by Newfound Glory from 2004. There we go. There's the back of the sleeve. Behind the sleeve, behind the disc, there's the disc. Love the artwork on this album. Little cartoony parodies of the band members, as you can see there. I'm going to show you all these because these are quite, they are quite cool. I think I prefer them as cartoons, to be honest with you. Should have done the gorillas, but anyway. Yeah, now Newfound Glory, US pop punk band. It came out of Florida. I think this is their third album. I may be wrong, correct me in the comments if I am. And again, one of these bands does exactly what it says on the tin. Most of these kind of bands, they kind of blend kind of, you know, pop punk, bit of post-hardcore, bit of commercial rock. Excuse me a minute, I just need a glass of water, or slurping my water bottle. Yeah, kind of, well, if you know bands like Simple Plan, My Chemical Romance, All Time Low, they're off that same circuit, off the same scene, although they're not from Florida, not from the West Coast. And, you know where they're coming from. And like I say, every time one of these albums comes up in one of these, it's fun. Got to admit, Newfound Glory, I don't know that much about. Again, this is one that kind of I picked up because of getting work. I still do get it from time to time when we're allowed to. DJing at parties and sort of club venues and that kind of thing. And, you know, sometimes you get a lot of the old pop pump emo crowd in, even though they're now into their 20s and 30s. Still want to hear some of their favourite cuts they used to boogie to when they were 15. So having something like this laying around in the racks or on my hard drive is, you know, handy. And, you know, I'm going to sort of like appreciate it for what it is. Like I keep saying, this kind of music isn't going to be earth shattering. It's not going to, you know, if you're an old rocker, you ain't going to blow your mind out and make you go and want to paint your bedroom black over again. But on the other hand, if you appreciate good music, then, you know, and you can appreciate what, because these kids are quite talented, especially they're talented musicians. They know what they're doing. They know their way around a fretboard, etc. And they can write some good songs. Probably the best known cut off here is their single, It's All Downhill From Here, of which there's a video version on the disc as well. I'll Kill to Fall Asleep, probably one of my favourite cuts off the album. Other highlights include Failure's Not Flattering. There's a bonus cut on here called Radio Adelaide, which is again sort of like a sweet kind of quite up tempo kind of sort of pogo-licious number. The Truth of My Youth, I Don't Want to Know, You're My Biggest Mistake. All good stuff. Again, aiming at their audience, but you know, if you can appreciate good music, then You know, these there's more going on that's a newfound glory than you know, a lot of people give them credit for. So yeah, and if you're kind of newfound glory fan saying, well, why did you being apologetic for it? I'm primarily, this broadcast is primarily aimed at older record collectors and music fans, and if you are someone that's already discovered them, then more power to them. Yeah, comments in the comment section, which is there on YouTube, over there on Facebook. You know, what is your opinion on pop punk? You know, is it kind of a worthy genre that's kind of should be now embracing the rock and roll mainstream, or should it still be banished to the back shelves of listening hell? I'd like to hear your feedback, please. But anyway, 2004 Catalyst, Newfound Glory, leads us on to the final one, and this is a classic. That much of a classic that at one point it was reckoned that one household in 5 had a copy of this in the household. I know I've got 2, one on vinyl, one on CD. This is, of course, 1977's Bada Hell by Meat Loaf. One of the greatest rock albums of all time. If not musically, definitely one of the most important. There's the front. There's the back with old Meat Loaf and Jim Steinman doing their pose. Pull this out. Lyric sheet, effectively. Trying to think who plays on here. No. Right, there's the chances are you'll have heard bits of this album, if only the title cut, even if you've never heard the full album. An album that was in the UK top 50 albums from, well, not long after its release, right through until nearly into the 2000s. This stayed in the UK album charts. Like I said, it's reckoned that in Britain alone, at least one household in 5 has a copy of this album with the number it's sold against the number of households in Britain. Just a seminally great record. One of those got like chance meetings, Meat Loaf jobbing session vocalist had previously done work for Ted Nugent on the I can't remember the name of the album, but he'd done vocals on the Ted Nugent album. Was doing a bit of kind of low-key acting as well. Was in one of the Animal House movies. Bumped into Jim Steinman. They had a conversation. The rest is history. This was their first collaboration together. It's been a fiery one. 3 or 4 slices of Bada Hell now down the line, and other albums like Dead Ringer for Love. Then there's Steinman's solo work, which should have been a Meat Loaf album, one we covered earlier. But overall, just coming back to Bada Hell, because I could go on talking about the history of Meat Loaf for ages, because I'm a massive fan. Not so much of Meat Loaf himself, although he is a fine vocalist, but my real love is Jim Steinman as a songwriter. A guy that can turn the rock and pop song into a mini Wagnerian opera, and he does so on this album. This album is like the Ring Cycle. This album is, from the opening cut, Bada Hell, about a boy escaping on his bike, you know, to have the inevitable rock and roll motorbike crash at the end. A song that has inspired many people overall, and the album cover as well reflects that, including people like author Terry Pratchett, who has a whole section in soul music that kind of has death on a motorbike chasing a renegade musician, with kind of references to the lyrics of Bada Hell in it. Then every other track on here is just storming. Took the words right out of my mouth. A sort of slower track. Must be Why You Were Kissing Me. Heaven Can Wait, a spine-tinglingly operatic ballad about not wanting to die. You know. Then there's All Revved Up, No Place to Go. Probably the most rocky track on the album. You know, about sort of like wanting to go up and looking forward to going out on a Saturday night, but then your date lets you down. And yeah, I'm all revved up with no place to go. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Another beautiful little love song. I Want You, I Need You. Don't be sad, because 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Kind of a song about lost love. The epic cut, Paradise by Dashboard Light, which is a Eileen Foley, I think, does the female vocal on here. Again, a great vocalist in her own right. And it's an operatic song about a couple of people that the Americans will probably call make our point, trying to get down and dirty in a car, and promises they make to each other to kind of have a good evening, but they're going to regret for the rest of their lives. Quite a moral little tale, that one. But brilliant stuff with a baseball commentary section in the middle, and oh my God, I think he's gonna make it. Stop right now. And then the closing cut, for crying out loud. Another love song, a epic cut, full-blown orchestral backing. You know, just powerful, moving song. Overall, this album is just brilliant. When you realise that it's a Todd Rundgren production, it's also Todd Rundgren also does additional guitars on it. Other guitars by Edgar Winter, Terry Britton from the Bruce Springsteen band on does a lot of the keyboards. Yeah, just makes for a record to die for. Like I said, if you're one of the households that hasn't got a copy of this album in your cupboard, or in your racks, or on your iPod or whatever, rectify that immediately. It's one of the seminal rock albums of all time, one of the most important rock albums of all time, and just, you know, and it's one that a lot of these sort of really famous albums, you know, I can go sort of like after so many years, like Led Zeppelin 4. Oh yeah, fair enough. You know, but this one, I don't know what it is. I never, ever get bored of listening to it. Yeah, 1977 Meatloaf's Bad Out of Hell, all-time classic. Well, that's it for this week. I hope you've enjoyed what you've heard. If you want to give me any feedback, give me your own personal reminiscences of the album, whether you want to agree with me or disagree with me. Comments are down there on YouTube, over there on Facebook. Remember, so if you're on Facebook or YouTube, remember to like and share. Just spreads the algorithm around. I'm not after making money. I just want to kind of talk music with as many people as possible. So, and if you can help by sharing it with others, that'll be cool. So, until next week, peeps. Those of you that have had your jab, well done. Those of you that haven't, look forward to it. It's going to be the end of this lockdown hell. I can't wait to get out and see gigs again, or even play gigs again. And if having a needle of stuck in the arm helps us get there, then so be it. So until next week, peeps, I loves every single last one of you, and I'm out of here. Bye.